Hello, listeners, and welcome back to another fun-filled and exciting episode of DevDive, the show where we talk to our favorite indie devs about their games and the projects we love and want you to love as well. On this week's dive, we welcome Eric Manahan, developer of Lucid, in all caps, a gorgeous pixel art platformer slash Metroidvania inspired by the golden age of 2D side scrollers. Eric, this has been a month plus in the making, getting us in the same room.
It has.
And on the same time zone. We're both in the same time zone.
Yeah.
I think we're both like in the same state, maybe.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. The Big Apple, 3 a.m.
We've had listeners, you've had a lot of me being just a total butt and telling Eric, I can't do it today because
They're not true.
circumstances.
Lies.
And I was like, at some point, I'm going to get ghosted by this guy. He's like, fuck this stupid little podcast.
Never. No, I was the inverse. I was like, they don't want to talk to me. Because I'm too small.
I'm too small. Eric, by the way, found us on Reddit. That was a fun way to intro, even though you did meet Steven and Matt at PAX East earlier this year.
I was wondering, because I saw you had posted, I forget which game you had posted, but it was a review and I liked it, and I was like, oh, I'm of the mind of take your shot, reach out, what's the harm? So I did. And then I was looking more at the stuff and I was like, these guys look familiar. And then I was starting like, I'm pretty sure I met these guys at PAX.
Recognize those stupid faces anywhere.
Yeah. I was like 92% sure that they were them, but yeah. So happy accident.
Hey, yeah, but I was like, hey, more guests is always fun for me. You know, when I'm not hunting for people to come on the show, it's always welcome. Like, oh, great, I do no work. You just come on the show. Great. Come on.
This sandwich just walked onto the table.
But that was a lot of fun. I was like, this guy seems cool, and we're both in New York, so that's why I felt like compelled to cancel so often, because we're in the same time zone. If you were like based in the UK or like Shanghai, it would have been like, listen, this is the strict schedule. We got to do it. Like I've crawled out of bed at 6 a.m. for like a UK call because I have to do it. But for our East Coast guests,
he's fine. He's
like, we'll give him the runaround.
Yeah, he's Devin over here. He's fine.
So we'll get into like a bunch of fun stuff because this is going to be a really fun chat, I feel, because there was some fun stuff we discussed before we actually hit record on this podcast. But why don't you give us like the elevator pitch of what Lucid is to
the
start?
Dreaded elevator pitch. Okay.
Put on the PR, the marketing hat. Put down the indie dev hat for a hot second.
Let's do this. Okay. So I've been told that either this is cute, awesome, and it gets the idea across immediately. I love it. Or that's bad and you should feel bad too. And I've been saying that Lucid, I've been affectionately calling Lucid the world's first Celesteoidvania.
Celesteoidvania.
Yeah. If we didn't have enough portmanteaus, is that how you say it? Portmanteau?
Yeah.
We didn't have enough of them. But yeah, the idea is it started off as a much more traditional Metroidvania, abilities and more exploration, yada. But at some point in my development of the game, I realized it was around like Mario Odyssey and when Spider-Man 1 first came out that traversal has to be as fun, if not more fun, than not more than, but it has to be just as fun as like moment-to-moment combat. Because if you're spending all that time getting from point A to B and you're not having fun, you're leaving so much money on the table. And this was also around the time I had played Celeste. And there's this mechanic in Celeste that I just adored, and it was this like if you dash into a node, you refresh your jump resources and you can essentially chain forever. And I was like, I'm going to run with that forever. So I took that idea and I basically tied all these abilities, every new ability you get, so every like for if it was Metroid, for every new wall jump or for every new shine spark, it's not just a mobility tech. It has to do two things. It has to be expand mobility and also enhance combat. So they're always doing two things. It completely changes the way you see the map. It opens up new invisible highways. It has new routes. Certain enemies can only very Doom 2016, where you have to kind of like swap from one ability to another. So first you have to like hit them 3 times with one, his shield will break, and they'll be weak to another one. You'll just swap the wheel. So it's very kind of like flow state inducing, puzzly aspect, expansive world, colorful roster of characters, deep lore. I've been making the lore for over 10 years now. I don't know, it's just everything I love about video games just distilled into like my heart on my sleeve in pixel art. And I'm very excited about it. And I hope my passion and love like exudes the screen. I'm hoping people connect with it and that, I don't know, they can get lost in a Metroidvania like I did when I was 8, 10, and just played on the carpet at like 10 p.m. on a school night in the heat of like summer. Oh wait, no, not school in the summer, but you know what I mean. I loved it, and I hope I can transport people like I did then.
I didn't expect the Doom to be tossed into the mix.
Yeah,
when describing a Metroidvania.
I know it's literally it's like it's so many different games I've loved, like tiny little pieces fused together. And that was the tricky part, is it's not a hodgepodge of just like things slapped and duct taped and glued together. If I haven't said it a billion times already, if anyone's listening who's a friend and has listened to me talk, he's talking about being an architect again. I come from an architectural background. I was an architect for a long time, and I have a very holistic approach to design. Like a building, like the walls not only have to support, they have to house wiring and HVAC and plumbing, and everything is doing multiple jobs, and like it's all weaved together harmoniously to create a building, a structure. I look at game dev the same way. So everything I put in the game is there for a reason. It's folding into another system. It's lore. It's doing multiple jobs. All to say that all these games it's not like a gross ice cream tuna fish stew. It's a very curated experience. So but a lot of games like Doom, Smash Bros, Metroid, Chrono Trigger, Dark Souls.
Oh my God.
Sonic. It's Mario 64.
This is like the cream of the crop of all of gaming that you're just listing off right now.
I know. It's cheap, but like it's just like
Xenogears, Final Fantasy 7, Mario Brothers 3, TMNT the arcade game, Castlevania 3.
Honestly, it's just like if I really looked into it, like,
name all the best games.
Like the Pogo from Hollow Knight / Shovel Knight's in there. Like, you can find the Messengers in there. Like, it's just it's everything. It's everything.
FYI, if I like zone out in this conversation because I'm staring at the Mega Man picture behind you, and I'm likely like touching a part of my body while looking at that picture. For no apparent reason, my pants are a little bit shorter. That is like, if it wasn't the Metroidvania chat that's gonna get me going, it's like you having a Mega Man thing in the background is just, don't put it out of frame now.
Oh no, sorry. So we got our Mega Man here, and we got Metroid 3. Some stupid indie game.
Some dumb game no one ever heard about.
Yeah. Garbage, and then the Grateful Dead, and then MC Escher, I think, is right there. Yeah.
Oh my God. I have it's a Metroid like morphology pick. It's like all the stages of the Metroid, like the life cycle. It's like hatchling. It's some crazy shit. Like some funky artist did it. It was
very cool.
One of the best things I own in a nice like green frame.
I'm jealous.
So you mentioned a lot of stuff.
I did.
And I'm kind of wondering, because I don't know where to begin now, because I feel like I want to tackle how does one go from construction into making games, because game dev isn't an easy thing. And
no,
I'm like pseudo attempting it right now, and I'm not good at math. I'm not good at coding. But I feel like I have to at least try at some point, because I keep wanting to get into it. But it's very it's a lot to take in at once. It's a little overwhelming. So what made you make that leap from one? That's a big leap. It's like you were doing like you did mobile games for like a big company and you wanted to go solo because wanted to be like creativity.
Yeah.
This is just two different things entirely.
Yeah. I lucked out because there was a lot of transferable skills that I found, which was great. But the leap happened was so it was always this kind of like side chained hobby on the side that I just loved. And I was in architecture school. It was late one night, deep in the studio, and it was like 3 a.m. And I was perusing Destructoid,
Mm-hmm.
and I got to an article saying like, check out this demo of this what solo dev pixel art Metroidvania, and I was like, what? I didn't know you could. Wait, I didn't understand the concept.
Of
Games
all
were
those
not.
words strung
Yeah,
together, solo
completely.
dev Metroidvania.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was. I had no
Who
idea that.
stole my life?
Yeah, so I look into it, and it turns out that I play this demo. I love it. I can't believe a single person has made this, and I reach out to them, and they respond. They're very informative. They tell me what programs they use and where to just where to start, and they were very kind. And it was the dev that was behind the game. It turned out to be the game Iconoclast, and
Oh shit,
yeah,
that is a great Metro. I love that game.
it's
Yeah,
fantastic. And because of him,
decline to come on the show.
oh, sad face. Yes,
That was years ago. It's fine. I'm over it. I'm not salty at all. It's
it's
totally
fine.
fine.
Well, he was really, really nice to me, but he was the
But
one
it's a
that,
solo dev, so they're busy. I get it.
yeah, very busy.
That's a lot. It's a lot.
But yeah, he gave me the catalyst to like get into it, and I picked up Game Maker, and
Mm.
and this was like around like 2012 or something, maybe around then. But so I just started doing tiny little game dev on the side. I was still an architect doing architecture stuff. I moved to the city. I get my architecture job, and just I'd go to architecture, live my life, and then when I get home at night, I would just work on this little project. And first it started out as just a little platformer, then it became a little pew pew Mega Man looking platformer, and then I
Hmm.
started just little bite-sized things. Then I made a shop, and then I made upgrades, and just all the little pieces slowly building and building and building. I do that for a long time. I take a hiatus because it was taking too much time out of my career, and I
Life.
loved it. Yeah, I loved it so much. I just didn't want to put it down. Um, but eventually, architecture is soul crushing in high-end residential architecture,
Oh shit.
and um, how do I put this? The ilk of people that reside in that stratosphere are
Mm.
human garbage.
The
Is that
turnoff.
the
Yeah, that's appropriate.
I think that might be the scientific
The
term. I think
dregs
it's
of society.
yeah. Human garbage. And soul crushing. So I would just lay on the floor in a deep depression. And one day, I think it was like 2020, we were out walking the dog, me and my fiance,
Mhm.
and she was like, "You are miserable and you need to do something." I'm like, "I know." And she's like, "Whatever happened to Lucid?" I'm like, "Well, I stopped it because it was all consuming, and you know how I get." She's like, "Yeah, I know, but you were so happy making it, and I loved it. Saw something in it. You should pick it back up." I'm like, all right. I wanted to learn Unity. I was like, oh, let me rebuild it in Unity. So I rebuilt it in Unity, and again, this is around that Celeste, Mario Odyssey, Doom 2000, that era, and I learned Hades as well. Hades was a big one. I played all these new games now, and I had all these new ideas. I had watched the indie doc a billion times. I've watched a billion no clip docs. I've watched so much. I've been saturated in indie dev, and it took on a life of its own, and it got some momentum. Publishers were reaching out, and one thing, bada bing, bada boom, I was able to, with her blessing, leave my architecture job and go full time, and now we're here.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
I
a
feel
long one.
that
Sorry.
that's a no. That's a, I feel that's a common catalyst for
Mm,
like just the mundane, soul draining, life sucking job that's just like, this is not where I want to be for the rest of
no.
my life. And then it's like, there's this, I have so much in here I have to put somewhere.
Yeah,
And yeah, I mean, that's why I do this show sometimes. It's like, it's a good outlet for just talking to people, and it's a good break from the 9 to 5.
oh,
But how did you, again, like, I can see the why I get that, but the whole like coding piece and like let me
Oh,
rebuild this in Unity kind of a thing. Like, what are those pieces? You take courses? Like, how does that aspect? And you have no coding background,
that's no,
no
no,
formal
that's
education,
no. I'm dumb as shit.
all
Eh,
self-taught.
yeah, it was one of my biggest fears. Like I was so intimidated. I had when I had a few friends who were in like coding science, what computer science engineers,
Mhm.
whatever, and I would reach out and like, dude, like, what do I even do? And one guy gave me the greatest advice I'd ever gotten in regards to this, and he just said, just start. I was like,
Yep.
what? And he's like, just start. It's going to be garbage. Everything you do is going to be garbage for a long time. It's going to be garbage, but you have to start. And that night, I just started and I couldn't stop. So
Wow.
really, I just started. I was bad for a very long time. I'm still bad. I'm still not good. But I can get it. I can get it. I have an idea and I have ideas of how to get it done. Is it the most optimal way? Probably not. I don't know. There's sometimes when I do something pretty clever and someone who knows what they're doing, like, oh, that's pretty clever. But more often than not, I feel like an ape scratching like,
Yeah, but no one's gonna read your code, Eric. It's
yeah,
like I remember seeing this thing one time about like how like likely the Undertale coding is like trash.
I
But
know, yeah,
Undertale is still Undertale,
100%.
regardless of what the code looks like.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're 100% correct. And that's kind of what it boils down to. I had to get over that, where it's like it's garbage, but if it another tidbit that helped me out was a good friend of mine, Mason. He's like a lot of people believe like if it works, that's good. It works as long as it works. And then once it starts to not work because it's not optimized, then you need to go and figure out why. Until then, it works. Move on. And I'm like, okay, all right, okay. But yeah, I just a lot of YouTube.
Yeah.
YouTube. I watch so much YouTube. I bought a bunch of coding books. On all my lunch breaks, I would go to like Starbucks and I'd sketch and I'd watch YouTube. I'd type on my laptop, and I was just completely entrenched and saturated in coding and learning and just trying to figure it out. And slowly but surely, get a little better. And that's really it.
How did you come to settle to this genre? Because I feel Metroidvanias are very much a dime a dozen
Oh
lately.
yeah,
There's so many coming out,
yeah,
and you lose
yeah,
track of the just amount of
yeah.
games that are popping out of this genre. What gravitated you towards making this particular style of game?
Well, when I started, I don't think it was the case. I don't the indie scene seemingly exploded at some point. I can't put a marker when,
Mhm.
but it definitely happened because it went from and I think it might have been around I want to say Heart Machine with Hyperlight Drifter.
Mhm.
Um, it's not. It was around the time of Mighty Number Nine. I wouldn't
Oof.
put it. I wouldn't put it in the same category, but it was around the time frame.
I am
But
not
around
getting
that
that money
time,
bank.
yeah.
I just burned
Ah,
$500 to that Kickstarter.
oh, my friend, holy shit. Yeah, I dodged that one. I picked ukulele instead. But
Not as egregious.
yeah, not
Yeah.
as it was.
Yeah.
It has. It's not a perfect game, but it was definitely a
Yeah.
more competent
And they're
game.
like redoing it ish. They're
Yeah,
remastering it to make it look better.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. There's some issues. I mean, but
yeah.
whatever, no, whatever. Um, but yeah, yeah, yeah. How did I pick a Metroidvania? When I first started, it's the game it didn't matter. It was the game I wanted to play. This
Mm.
is the game I wanted to exist. This is the game I would want to play. So I am making that game. Unfortunately, or however, maybe not unfortunately. But yeah, the Metroidvania market seems to have become flooded with that mentality. But it wasn't a thing when I was making it.
Mhm.
If I had to redo it, I guess the question I'm asking myself now, if right now, if I wasn't making a game, would I make a Metroidvania? Would I make
Mm.
Lucid? Probably, yeah. this is the game I want to make. This is the game I want to play and exist. So it has to be made. My next game probably won't be a Metroidvania. I can tell you that much. But yeah, man.
It's just I feel like it's really tough to make a game that stands out in this genre because I was telling you before the show, I just finished playing Gestalt, Steam and Cinder over the weekend. And it's a game that I was really excited about for a very long time. And then when I finally got to play it, it was over way too quickly. It was a very by the numbers, safe Metroidvania. And I sat there when the credits rolled, like after what seemed like maybe like a 30-second ending. It's literally that short.
Oh.
And I was wondering, like, will I remember this game a year from now, 5 years from now? What do you think makes or constitutes like a memorable Metroidvania game? Because the second I was done with that, I immediately went to play Symphony of the Night
Oh.
just to see,
Good.
like, do I really look at that game through like rose tinted glasses? But
Uh-huh.
that game holds up remarkably well.
Mm-hmm.
Even today, we're talking like,
Mm-hmm.
20 plus
20,
years
yeah.
later. Yeah.
I had played for the first time ever Symphony of the Night about 3 or 4 years ago. I
Wow.
definitely.
Holy
I know.
shit.
I'm admittedly on the record of the Metroidvania. I lean heavily on the Metroid side, but
I can see that.
yeah, if anyone's ever opened the map of Lucid, it should be immediately apparent. But I played it finally, and I was like, oh, this game's awesome. It's really great. I can see why. It's kind of
Oh,
amazing.
why is it on all the lists? Oh, I get it now.
Oh, cool. This is rad. Yeah, that's a really good question. Why is that so memorable? Because I can remember a lot of that game,
Mm-hmm.
and I only played it once.
Yeah.
I remember the library, I remember the clock tower, I remember the
Mhm.
gears, I remember the wolves, I remember being a wolf, I remember the gas, I
Yeah.
remember the bat, all these little things. I remember the giant amorphous blob boss that you have to like
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
that thing's rad.
That's like compiled of like dead bodies.
The dead bodies that fall.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
think it's
Grand
man,
Falloon
yes,
is the name of that. I'm such a fucking nerd.
Yes. I
The
love
sound
it.
you all just heard was your virginity's growing back collectively when I said the name of that boss.
What's this in my pocket? It's my V card. How did this get here?
That's shit. It's back again.
Oh my god, this is amazing. Can I get two, please? I don't know how to. I'm like trying to buy time to the answer. I did not
It's
play
tough. Yeah.
the Gestalt. I also don't. I can't have an opinion yet because I didn't play it. So I don't want to poo-poo anywhere I can't yet. Not saying it's not deserved, but I won't do it. I won't do it, Gestalt. I love you guys, but maybe I gotta play it. Maybe I won't like your game. Sorry, but
Like I love the game, but I don't. It's like I don't think I'll look back on it in any way, in a good way or even a bad way. It just I won't
because
look back at it at all. I feel
because from what I've seen, the art is very good.
top
So
notch. That is
so
top
it,
tier, top quality.
so like, and I'll say I believe art sells. Art gets your
Mhm.
foot in the door,
Mhm.
but it can't. I don't think it's enough to, like you said, it's not enough to plant a seed in your mind
Mhm.
forever. So art sells, gets your foot in the door. Yay! Like it's a big proponent, big factor. I think, and I don't know, people might argue that it's in the game, man. I haven't played it, so, but I think detail, tiny little moments go a really long way.
Mhm.
Moments like in Super Metroid where you fall down the pit and then you have to follow the animals. The animals give
Mhm.
you the cues on how to get out. They didn't have to do that, but they did.
Mhm.
Tiny environmental interactions,
Yep.
NPC animations, idle animations, uh, moments where like it's not what you would intend, what you think the gameplay is intended, but you like I wonder if I can do this. And then you can do that. The
Right.
moment of like, oh, I can do that. I thought of it. I wasn't told you got this ability. It does XYZ. Oh, I'm in a room and it doesn't have XYZ markers. Oh, I can't use anything here. But instead, they are open-ended questions like, here are your kits. what do you think he can do? And you use your brain to like figure out the puzzles, and there's like 10 answers to the question. I think that's huge.
Mhm.
Those are big because those are like self-made memories. They're not set pieces.
Right.
Set pieces are fun, but it's like watching everyone has that experience. Having like a personal, intimate your experience because you thought of that. It wasn't scripted. No one else or not everyone is going to have that exact like pieces of the puzzle that you're making your own set piece in
Mhm.
your mind. And I think that is huge. And I guess that's my answer.
Yeah, I mean it goes to show why I love the game like Animal Well so much.
It's a good one. I
It's a
really
game
liked it.
that's like subverting what a Metroidvania is supposed to be,
Hmm.
and it's putting the genre on its head, and it's incredible for it
Yeah,
because every person
it's
playing
very
it will
clever.
have a very different perspective on even just how they're tackling the game itself, let alone the things you find on your own, like the secrets that are buried deep, deep, deep in that game.
Yep.
Just like where you're moving on the map is going to change for everyone.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
same from player to player.
Yeah. I remember in that game, I remember the bubble power up
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and
Yeah. That game's double jump. Yeah.
yeah. And speaking of, I don't recall it having any tutorial. Like there was no
Mm-mm.
text, but I do remember having my own personal aha moment where I was like, okay, well, I was doing a bunch of puzzle bubble platforming
Yep.
leading up to this. I wonder if I can bloop 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 bloop. I can. Oh, that's awesome. Cool. And I remember that. Nice. Yeah. So that's a great example.
It's when I finished Gestalt, or while I was playing it, I should say, I was looking at characters, thinking to myself, I wonder which one of these NPCs are going to be unlockable like post game. I think a lot of modern Metroidvania games have forgotten about that tradition
Mm,
because you look back, starting from Symphony, all through the DS
yeah.
Vania games, even on the PS2 Castlevania games, they've always had that beat the game, unlock XYZ character.
Right.
Does anybody do that anymore? Have we lost this
Uh,
like tradition? Because I feel like Metroidvania is a very specific thing, like the look, the feel, like there's systems that belong to that genre.
right.
I think we've forgotten about that one system.
I think so. And I would, if I had to guess as to why, I think, I know for me, if I had the budget and the team and the bandwidth to do it, I would do it in a heartbeat. But I only have so many hands and so many hours in a day. But yeah, like in a new day and age, like it would be very open to a content update of some nature where a new character comes in, only
Mm,
because that's my situation right now. But
mhm.
when I have a studio and people to help, much more people to help, yeah, that is something I would love to include. The first thing that came to my mind was it's not a Metroidvania, but do you remember the Kingdom Hearts game on the Game Boy Advance where it was like card based?
Oh my God.
Chains of Memory?
Yeah, huh? Yeah.
Yeah. You play the whole game as Sora, and then at the end, if you do XYZ, you can play as Riku. And I was like, oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Mega Man sort of do that sometimes where you can play as like bass or
Oh
Proto
yeah, I think the
Man.
later ones were like you can unlock Proto Man or like base
Yeah.
after you finish the base game.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
Metroidvanias, I haven't seen that in a minute outside
Yeah,
of
it's been a
Castlevania.
while. And I
Yeah.
was like, that's like soul. That's like fun. That's like
Hmm.
things that they put in there to extend replayability.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of like new game, a form of new
Yeah.
game plus.
Like I remember like Castlevania, like Symphony of the Night. It's like you beat the whole game. Now play it as Richter.
Yeah,
Like okay, why the fuck not? Because it's a
yeah,
whole different character, different move set,
yeah,
different stats. It's like, why wouldn't I want to do this?
yeah.
I feel like
Awesome.
that and just like unlockables in general have like disappeared from games. I feel like I would always bruise like tips and tricks back in the day. look
Yup.
for like codes and shit. Like, what can I?
Yep.
How do I get the rocket launcher in this game? How do I get
Yep.
the laser gun in like Silent Hill?
Yep.
Like, where all that stuff go?
I know exactly what you mean because I was the same kid. I was the kid who before the everyone had a computer, everyone had a printer. I would have to go to my local library, type in game facts, and then you like
Yeah,
walkthroughs. And remember those like text documents that were
yeah,
like 200 pages
yes,
with maps drawn with like squiggly lines and
yeah.
stuff?
It was like ASCII art, but like the whole like
Yes,
it was like
yes,
just a bunch of L's and
yeah,
dashes, like to
yeah.
make a map of a room.
Yep, yep. Like that's what I grew up on, and that was like the mystery. And then you'd be like, "Oh man, did you hear this?" Or like the rare candy trick in Pokemon. I think the internet and our interconnectivity, nothing's a surprise anymore. Even
Yeah,
FromSoft, like a boss will stay a hidden boss for like a day tops.
yeah.
Like Melania, I think was a secret boss for a day, and then because like by the second day, everyone was like, "Have you found the secret boss?" I'm like, well, it wasn't much of a secret now, was it?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like if we're not gonna find it, we're gonna data mine it and then get that out the window.
right,
It's like here's
right.
all the things in the game. There's like code for like 10 extra characters.
Yeah, 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 yeah. The closest thing I can do, oh, how I've approached this, because I've thought of this as well, my friend.
Hmm.
The
Hmm.
closest thing I can
I'm
think of,
glad you have.
because I was like, you can't beat the internet. How do you can't do it? You can't beat the internet. So what do you do? The closest thing I could do was, or that I could think of, was to make hidden mechanics.
Mm.
So, there's not secret like I mean there are secrets, but people are not going to be there's no like secret input to get a rocket launcher for say. But there'll be hidden tech of like, oh, I didn't know you could like jump cancel this, but you could also jump cancel into this, but it also if you do
Oh,
hit this if you hit a certain more enemies, like the meter comes back quicker. No one tells you that, but apparently if I hit more enemies, my other powers come back quicker. And like I've littered the game with little hidden mechanics that will eventually probably be figured out, but that's the meta where it's like figuring the intricate intricacies of how to most optimally pilot the player character that it isn't overtly and explicitly said. That's where I think that's the schoolyard banter is going to come in from.
mm,
Where it's like, I've seen you play. You're playing wrong. If you want the most optimal route, you should be doing this, man. And
playing
they're like,
wrong.
oh, okay, okay, yeah. Yeah.
Are
I'm
you
always what do
are
you
you
mean I'm playing wrong?
are you that guy that's like at the demo station like that's like yeah, walk to the left, double jump here, like get out of my face. I just want to enjoy the game.
No, no. I probably skew too far to the other way. I kind of revel
You do the
in
Homer Simpson into the bush kind of a
yeah, yeah,
vibe.
yeah. Yeah, when I give someone the sticks to play Lucid and they're playing, I just kind of sit there like and they're sitting there and they'll be like dying and dying and they're like, I'm like, you can do it, I believe in you. And they're like, this is so hard. I'm like, you can do it. And like 3, 4, 5 tries later, they're like, I did it, yes, yes. And then I like what was I supposed to do? I'm like, oh, this is like, do you want to know? And they're like, they'll give it to me and I'll be like blip, 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 blip. And they're like, oh, fuck you, dude, fuck you.
So that's actually a good segue. What's like the response been since you've taken it to like a show like a PAX and had the public test it and play it? What is that like for you as a developer, seeing people getting your hands on the game and then getting that immediate reaction slash feedback from people?
my my personal Lucid reaction, it was unreal. It was so awesome. I was so nervous because I didn't feel prepared. I felt so woefully underprepared. Um, Turns out I was worrying for no reason because the reception was so awesome. It was warm. It was hype. I mean, I, I don't want to come off as tooting my own horn, but I was told
No, go for it, dude.
by many of friends and of many of people at the thing, they were just like, Lucid is the buzz of the fucking like
Oh shit.
everybody was talking about Lucid apparently, and I was like,
Oh shit.
come on. But yeah, I felt like I'd never felt like a rock star until that PAX. It was awesome. Everyone was so kind. I don't know what else to say. Everyone just was getting it. Like I was people just they were getting what I was going for. They were getting the idea of the game. They were understanding like the vision, like the artistic piece of it. Like
Mhm.
they just got it. There was no loss in translation. Even people there was a huge chasm of skill, which was I love. Some people were having trouble with like the first few jumps, but then it was awesome and rewarding to see them like pick it up as they go. They would start off like a fumbling idiot, and then they'd be like, are you sure you've never played? Because you're doing awesome." That was so awesome to watch. And then you'd have the other side where they'd pick it up and they're like, "I played every Mega Man that's ever existed," and they were just like,
I got this.
housing the demo. And I was like, this is awesome, because then I love games that have easy to pick up and rewarding to master. And so far it seems like that's where Lucid's hitting right in the pocket. And people are saying they just pick it up and they'll move around. And I've gotten this this is what I got to see a whole bunch. Oh, and I was like, yeah, and I was just like, oh yeah, yes, that's what we want. They just said it was a joy to like pilot. It just felt good to play, and I was tickled pink. I was on cloud nine. I don't want to gush about myself anymore, but it was awesome, dude.
No, you gush. I feel like after you abandon like a nice, like soundproof career, like because we're always gonna need buildings.
Yeah, I guess so.
And you went into the unpredictable world of indie game dev, where I've heard stories of people, it's not going to apply to you, but like I've mortgaged my house twice to pay for the fucking, there's $10 in my bank account on launch day. That's how this thing goes.
Bro, I'm rationing my shampoo and soap. Like, holy shit.
I'm gonna send you some extreme cheapskates clips when this interview is over.
Dude, I'll take it.
Take a shower with your fiance while you're wearing your clothes to launder. That's what I've learned so far. You can cook a whole ass lasagna in the dishwasher while you're washing your dishes.
I've seen that. That's wild. I haven't hit that. I haven't had soapy lasagna yet, but I'm not opposed to it. I'm open. Yeah.
But that's phenomenal. I feel like now I'm like, why did I get sick? I couldn't go to PAX. I'm gonna bother you for a build later. It's fine. I'm gonna play.
I got you.
What does it feel most like, the gameplay, the motion of the character? What is that? How would you best equate that or compare it to another game in the genre?
I would say it's a blend between like a Mega Man Zero slash Mega Man X, but I'll go with Mega Man Zero because it has a sword, and Celeste, and a little bit of Metroid Dread, just the smoothness, a little different, but that flow statey nature. So
yeah,
Celeste with the flow state, the freedom of player expression and like zippiness and dashing of Mega Man Zero, and just that like slick, like complete control of your character from Dread. Yeah, I'd be interested in what people say, but yeah, I guess that's what I'd go with.
Man, what a game Dread was. That was an amazing Metroid game.
I really Samus had never felt so good to pilot. She felt, and she had, her personality was in every animation. I played it twice. I think I played it wrong because it felt linear, like a little linear to me. I loved it, but it did feel linear. But then I've watched other people play it, and they were finding sequence breaks and different routes that I didn't see, and I was like, oh well, I'm a bad Metroid player apparently. But yeah, I need to play it again, but like better. I want to give it its fair shake.
I still love how that game ends. That's like,
oh my god.
It's been out for a while. I'm not going to spoil it, listeners, but like just the ending, the last sequence, like when she gets all powered up, like just how it goes down is like such.
It's badass.
It's like sex to me when I watch that scene,
so good
because it's just so like sci-fi goodness.
Yeah, it's like in the best way, in the most complimentary way possible. Like it is B movie sci-fi schlock.
Yes,
love it. I love it. What a moment I talk about at length in my Discord is that I think it's the first boss. It's like the scorpion looking boss. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you defeat it, the cinematography where the camera is on the head of the scorpion monster, and then it like focuses back on Samus, and she's like just sitting there, like head cocked, and then slowly walks, and then like point, and she's just badass. I love it. She has so much
Oh,
sass. I love that game. It's so good.
goddamn Prime 4 cannot get here soon enough.
Oh my
That's
god.
all I'm gonna say right now.
Oh my god. Dude.
How do you? I know how do. That's not because
Yeah. Huh.
I have to take a break to like.
Huh.
How do you?
Schnitzen.
How do you start to swell up? How do you strike a balance between? Because again, you describe like a very flow statey, like that Celeste movement, that zippiness. How do you balance that with like level design, enemy placement, keeping it challenging? Because I feel like you would make it easier to maintain that nice zippy flowiness to make it look slick and cool. But then again, do you want an easy game? Like just thought was a super ass easy game.
I I I believe in the player. I have faith in the player.
Okay.
I respect the player.
It's intentionally fuck with people for like the entire time.
Yes. There is nothing unfair. Nothing is unfair. Everything is fair. I believe in you. You can do it. If my fiance, who has never owned a console ever, who doesn't play games ever, came into my room one night and was just like, "Let me play the demo." I'm like, I don't think that's a good idea. Let me play the demo. Takes it, picks it up. She was on the spectrum of monkey humping a doorknob of video, and by the end she beat the demo, and I slack jawed. I was like, I cannot believe you did that. And she's like, it's really good. And I was like, I love you. But if she can do it, anybody can do it. I believe in you. But to your question, which was, what was it exactly? It was
how do you maintain
design?
that like the balance? Like how do you're trying to maintain like slick, fun, zippy, flow statey gameplay, but then you're building levels around that, placing enemies. How do you strike that balance?
So I think the issue is where most games have that a fulcrum in the middle. And to balance the fulcrum, you got to have the middle, and it's got to weight like this. You're doing it wrong, my friends. Lucid does not do this. It's this.
It's just that.
It's a whole thing. There is no divide. The movement is the combat. So the flow state never ends. You're platforming, and then all of a sudden you're platforming, but you're killing things, but your enemies are your platforms. So I'm not sure if the audience knows how Lucid works, but essentially you have let's say you have a slash in the air, you can slash twice in the air. You can slash infinitely if you keep hitting something. Every time you hit something, you refresh your jump and your slash resource. So you could chain and stay airborne. If you can hit something, you can stay airborne. So all the enemies you hit, you just zip around and you're floating and like a sting like a bee, float like a butterfly. So there is no hard break. Like there are combat arenas, but the flow state is constant.
I love it so much.
Yeah, so the balancing really isn't. It's just laying it out and making it feel good. It's really more about like placement and like not being able to move freely and not abruptly stop and make it feel janky. That's kind of more of the challenge. I've actually likened it to recently. It just kind of dawned on me because my friends were looking at the map and like, the map is huge. I'm like, well, it kind of has to be. And they're like, well, why? Like it's just so horizontal. And I was like, well, Lucid and Owen, the main character in Lucid, he can move, man. He can move a lot. And it's really more of like a Sonic, like a Metroidvania Sonic level. And it's not like little boxes, not like little chambers that most Metroidvanias are. It's really expansive because you can get from point A to point B really quickly. You're moving fast and covering large spans of distances. So, it's like a Sonic size, like, because there's also like these rail grinding-y sections. I have to send you B-roll or something. It's hard to explain. You have to see it to understand.
We'll throw it up here, yeah.
Awesome.
But I was just gonna say Sonic because like you're talking about stopping momentum. That's like the Sonic dilemma.
Hmm.
Like your intention is to move fast, but
Right.
there's walls and spikes and
Right.
enemies that will
Right.
just
And
stop you dead in your
right.
tracks
And I
completely.
I I get why I don't love Sonic games. I understand. I'm not taking it down. I just because of that reason, every like I know you have to memorize the level, and that's probably part of it, but like
Mm,
if you don't memorize the level, it's not very fun to play. Lucid does not have that problem. Like the camera's panned out enough, you can see where you're going. You're picking up speed. It's not momentum based,
mhm.
um, but hopefully the gameplay kind of helps sell what the heck we're talking about. But yeah, you're on the money. It doesn't have that Sonic problem. You're not constantly stopping and hitting a wall and
Mhm.
hitting spikes and ding 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 ding. It's annoying.
Let's get into the character Owen.
Oh,
What is the story here? What is happening?
well,
Gameplay sounds amazing. I get also the game looks and sounds. I've been
oh,
watching her little like YouTube clips.
oh, thank you.
You're in my feed popping up.
Yes.
The
Oh,
algorithm
that's
knows. It's
thank you.
like, look at him, look at Eric doing his thing.
Yes. Okay, that actually makes me real. I was authentically worried I was being like throttled
No,
for
I'm just like
oh,
every
fantastic.
time you pop
Oh,
up.
thank you, man. You have no idea how I appreciate that. So seriously. But Owen, so I can't get too much because there is a nice whole
I
story
mean,
inter
developing a
thing.
10 years of lore in your brain
Yeah,
is
there's a lot of stories and side characters, a lot of
that's all we
stuff.
need to know that this is a proper story to tell here.
There's a proper story, and it's also it's going to be. I love FromSoft. I love their games. I love the way they tell their lore. I love all of that. That said, it's going to be one step removed from the obtuseness of a Dark Souls kind of
As in
what the
further
fuck's
further removed or
closer
less removed. Okay.
closer
Okay,
to
okay. All right.
digestible.
All right.
So yeah,
So
it's
I
and
won't have to watch like a 6 hour lore dive video
no,
that goes through
maybe
all the item descriptions so I can understand what
yeah.
the fuck's going on in this game.
No, you'll have a grasp of what's going on. Maybe
Mhm,
you'll want to watch a 20 to 15-minute video of other stuff because it's fun. But
mhm,
it'll all be there if it's there if you want it. It's going to be in item descriptions. It'll be in the environmental storytelling. There will
mhm,
be dialogue and NPC quests and it's going to be much more digestible than a Dark
mhm,
Souls. But it's also going to have a little bit of you know, well, oh, this character has this symbol, and oh, this symbol's over here, but why is
mhm.
it things like that? So a little bit of piecing some dots together. Um,
What is it? I mean, if we can get into it, what is his primary thrust? Like,
hmm.
what is putting us on this journey with him
So
without
Owen,
going into a 20-hour long
yes,
lore dump?
yes. So Owen is he is a part of the Sentinel Order. There are three main faiths in this world, and they
Mhm.
all worship one of the three main deities. I'm sure people may have seen some of the pixel artwork of Troika, the
So
Fire
good.
Serpent, and Alo the Giant, and Ilya, the Pale Maiden. Uh, so there's worshipers, there's faith worshipers, and then there's also people who kind of stop singing the song. They've
Oh.
they've found their own means of
Hmm.
producing energy and
Those
aura.
heretics.
Heretics. Yeah, maybe there's some interplay and stuff going on there, but the world there was a cataclysmic event like all
Mhm.
great Metroidvanias need.
Of course.
And it was a long time ago, and your order is very Jedi-like. It's
Mm.
dwindling,
Hmm.
and your deity has perished, or it's been dead for a long time.
Hmm.
And things happen. There's a what's it called? A catalyst. There's a inciting incident
Hmm.
that thrusts you into going out, collecting the five lucid crystals in an
Oh.
attempt to revive the lucid giants and bring back order and
Whoa.
balance to the world of Aiden.
Ugh, I want it. I want it so hard right now.
Give it to
Sounds so good.
Yep, I can't. I wish I could go into more, but even in like the first few minutes, there's stuff that goes down.
It's just amazing how like, you can create this like massive, 10-year history in your brain, and then when it comes down to it, there's still like the gamifying of said 10-year lore. It's like collect the 5 things to do this one thing.
Yeah.
It's always the crystals or the gems or the rings.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna lean so hard into that cliche. I'm gonna make a whole fucking game crystals. I coined the crystal punk. It's a crystal punk game because
I like that. Yeah. I'm into that.
A lot of the tech is very like basically think of like a steampunky tech and just substitute steam for crystal energy.
I love that.
So,
I love that.
I'm very excited to show all.
What do some of the boss fights look like? I feel like aside from, for me, these games, it's like there's 3 things I look forward to: is the abilities you learn and you basically stack and build throughout the course of the entire game. The soundtrack.
Oh, dude.
And I've listened to some of your tunes, and they're fucking phenomenal.
Wow.
Which again circles back to what makes a memorable game in this genre. The music is a big piece, and I feel you already nailed that. And then the boss fights. I feel like those tie into the skills you've learned and how you can use them effectively.
Yes.
And
they're like tests. They're like the final test.
And in these kinds of games, like I look forward to like the big. There's always like the half of like screen filling. It's the whole ass fucking thing at one time in your face.
Yeah.
That's it. As long as we have that, I feel like.
Oh, I got you covered. So yes, there's. So before I go to the bosses, the music. I grew up. I love music. It was a huge part. I play music. I've played music. Una, my fiance, we used to produce and DJ music together. She's doing adorable. She's actually doing a bunch of the tracks you've probably already heard.
That's even more adorable.
Andy Black, another friend of mine, he's doing other stuff.
First, I gotta say, I'm not cut you off, but like fiance was like, "Hey, you should make that thing you're working on for all of you. Plus, hire me to do this to do the music for you."
Yeah. It's pretty great. I had to send her. I think I had to send her a 1099 or something, but it was weird.
I love it.
But the other big news, I'm not sure if everyone knows this, but a little
breaking news.
A little old composer by the names of David Wise of Donkey Kong Country fame is doing a handful of tracks for Lucid.
How do you get that?
I don't know.
You use some of that Kickstarter money? Like, listen, I'm gonna throw that.
He's the sweet. He is so awesome. I can't describe. Like, first of all, I shit you not, man. When I was making Lucid, it was a hobby. I was making YouTube playlists of like tunes to get in the zone, and like 90% of it was Donkey Kong Country soundtrack. So it was just David Wise tracks, Sticker Bush Symphony, Aquatic Ambience, Jungle Beats, all the greats. Full circle, all of a sudden, he's making tracks for Lucid. It still, I don't believe it's surreal.
Was that, did the publisher help you get that contact, or was it just like
it was a guy who knew a guy who had a feeling he would be interested, and
oh my god,
it was I couldn't believe it. It was like, I think I can get, and got, I was like, get the fuck out of here. and I had
that is amazing.
Yeah, I had a first call with him, and it took every fiber of my being to not gush the whole time. But he is so incredibly talented and effortlly cool, and it's an honor.
That's amazing.
I'm
dude.
cheesing just thinking, because he's a long time idol of mine. But yeah, so that's the music. Music's a huge priority.
Huge part, yeah.
So, but then boss fights. I am a firm believer. So where the Mega Man X portion comes in is there is a bit of the rock, paper, scissor coming in. However, it is not spark mandrill, ice, freezing cheese. None of that. It is way more like, wow, wouldn't it be great if I could have a hitbox that could reach up high relatively easy
Hmm.
because the enemy likes to crawl on the ceiling, for example,
Hmm.
and I have the spear that's the vertical one. Wow,
Hmm.
that really makes this fight more manageable. So it's not
Mm.
a damage multiplier. It is not an instant win button. It is
Mm.
a very convenient hitbox or pattern interrupter or something like that.
Mm.
So yeah, every boss fight is built around crystal art in mind, and yeah, they're lore intensive. They range from like person, I guess, like NPC size to
Like
monstrosity to
1v1 kind of situation.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, exactly. There's a proto man to your Mega Man
Oh,
character. Yeah.
oh,
You have a red rival. Yep. Yep. He's really fun because
I hate that I'm not playing this game right now.
dude, you might see him in one of the clips. His name's Syl. He's like a red crystally man, and I love how he's incorporated. You fight him as like, imagine if the treasure chests in Zeldas that give you
Hmm.
like the bow and the hook shot.
Sure. Yeah.
Imagine if they were a boss fight. So you fight him as like a mini boss, and after you defeat him, a piece of his crystal chips off, and you absorb it, and that's how you learn your new crystal art. It's fucking rad, dude.
I hate that I've taken an hour away from your life to continue working on this fucking incredible sounding game. Take it back.
Oh yeah. So yeah,
I love
boss
it. I love it.
fights.
I love it.
I love them.
Yeah, the Spark Mandrill shotgun ice cheese. That's
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've leaned more towards like the Burner Man philosophy of Mega Man boss design, where like so Burner Man, that's a deep cut. That's a Mega Man base
Yeah.
boss that was only in Japan, Rock Band Forte.
I played it on some
Game Boy
mystery thing.
Advance
Yeah,
did a re-release, but the
somehow I played it on my
ratio.
computer.
Oh, so yeah, somehow with some
I
device.
don't know how that happened.
That's
Yeah,
why
I
I
know what you're talking
played
about.
Symphony the night after I finished Gestalt the other day on the Steam Deck.
Mhm.
That boss. So there's like this. It's called Ice Wall. You get from Cold Man.
Mhm.
So you would think Ice Burner is like a fire-based boss. It's like, okay, I'll use ice against fire.
Yep.
But for this boss, it's like you're on this platform with spikes at the end.
Yeah.
And you have to push him with the wall onto the spikes.
Yeah.
So it's not just, oh, I'm gonna cheese the weapon till I kill him. There's an actual strategy in place for that fight.
100%.
So
Definitely.
It's not, yeah. I love that angle.
Mhm.
Not just use the weapon you got, 4 shots, done, move on.
Bink.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
unlock him forever. Yeah. None of that. Definitely more in line with Burner Man.
Love it.
By the way, people say that game is one of the worst. I liked.
No, it's tough.
Maybe I'm a masochist.
I think because it was designed to be one of the harder, if not the hardest, like OG Mega Man games. Yeah, like, and I played it with save states on some magical device. And I think without that, I wouldn't be able to beat that game.
That's fair.
And that's to be in my prime with like my most muscle memory hands playing Mega Man games for years.
Yep.
When I came across that game, like in like the Mega Man X4
yep.
era of Mega Man games.
We live the same life. It's
weird. Yeah.
That's cool, man. Yeah. I love it. So that's bosses. Bosses are huge. I love designing boss fights. They're so much fun. So much fun.
God, I want it right now.
Mm-hmm.
I want it. So since I want it, this is a good time to ask, when can I have it? When is this coming out?
A late 2025. That is the plan. However, a public demo may or may not be coming.
Okay.
To satiate the thirst. Possibly around some sort of event that.
Who's your publisher? Is it Apogee?
Apogee.
I'm gonna have to bother them and be like, Eric is slacking. This 2025 shit's not gonna fly.
Tell them to give me more money.
You gotta.
That'd be awesome. That'll really help out.
It's like, listen, I had a budget, but I was talking to Andy about hidden characters and unlockables. You have to double the budget for this game.
Yeah,
this is not going to be a proper Metroidvania. until I can put like Alucard in it. I don't
Yeah,
care. Get
man.
the rights. We'll put them in there.
Yeah, yeah. If you want greatness, you got to pump in greatness. That's all I
It's
got to
like
say.
we're gonna unlock Mega Man in this game. We're gonna unlock Simon Belmont. We're gonna unlock Samus.
Dude, the amount of awesome ideas that people like approach me with, I'm like, that sounds awesome.
How does that work? Because I'm pretty sure like a game like this lends itself to like this is great. Add this from like the fans and from your Discord followers. Like I'm pretty sure they're just chiming in
Dude,
left and right.
most times the answer boils down to like if I had a full-time team, that would be like I would totally Lucid 2. That sounds like Lucid 2.
Lucid too, yeah.
That's a great idea, Lucid 2.
That's a great answer.
Yeah.
I love that for this game, but you know what? Lucid 2.
Yeah. But
You gotta work on this game. Lucid 2.
Because there's such a thing as like bloat and scope creep and it's a good idea,
yeah.
but it's like you don't understand that actually like contradicts something else that's doing something similar, and it would compete. Like one can't exist. Whatever.
I want to ask you a few more broader questions about like again, because you're entering the indie game scene. You're not like this is your first release, your first game, I imagine. You're fairly new to the whole situation. Very loving community, indie game devs that feel like some of the best people on the planet make indie games.
I've met some really cool people.
Like lifers, like friends for life. What is it like for you watching things that happen, like all these studio closures and just watching what's happening in the big AAA space as on the indie dev side? What does that look like for you?
I mean,
what's your reaction to all that stuff, that craziness that just breaks my heart on a daily basis?
Yeah, like
Embracer is like
the first
that kills me.
Yeah, the first, it's like heartbreak, and then frustration, anger, annoyance, and then they not the work employees, but like the company, like you did it to yourself. Like it's so frustrating, and like they don't care. They say they care. They do a fucking apology and what was the Hi-Fi Rush team that got like
Tango Works, yeah.
Make I mean, granted, this is one of my hot takes. I'm
ready for it.
I didn't love that game. Everyone loves that game, and I'm sorry, I didn't love it, but I can recognize that it was great. It was a great game. It was love dripping all over the place. I can tell. It wasn't for me. That said, you can make it a fantastic game and still get fuck you.
That is the harshest lesson from all of that. How you can have a game that's critically acclaimed, on both sides, like from the fans and like the media at large, and just appear out of nowhere with zero marketing and be embraced by people and be like
shadow dropped,
and then be like, well, it's still not good enough.
I mean, okay, so my Una, my fiance, I talk about her a lot. She works in the movie industry. She works in visual effects for. I don't know if I'm like one of the toppest, precious visual effects studios ever.
Okay, not the ones that did the CGI for the She-Hulk show.
No,
I'm guessing is like a Pixar or Illumination kind of a situation.
More like they made one of the greatest trilogies of all time. My Precious.
Oh shit! I got it.
Okay, cool.
I am picking up what you're putting down, my friend.
And so,
you said that word twice. The second time it was like that word means something. Use the last two brain cells, Andy.
So I have like together a really intimate look at like the movie industry, and our industries are very like sister industries. A lot of parallels, and my same criticism, I say mine, a criticism that many people have of the big movie industry is the same for AAA. They keep trying to pump out the billion-dollar blockbuster, and then when it doesn't return, everybody gets fired. They shut down studios, and it's like, well, if you don't try to pump in 3, 4, 500 million dollars and you don't make
Yeah.
bank, they gotta scope it down. You gotta be more willing to do mid-sized budgets, your
Mhm.
double A studios, and that's why I think if you even just look at the last, what was it, Game Awards, they had a huge showing of indies and double A kind of sections and
Mhm.
showings, and it's the rise of the indies and the double A. I think that's the
Yeah.
time, and
We're getting there.
I hope I feel for my brothers and sisters of who got let go.
Mhm.
I hope that the I hope that they find work or they're able to take this time and pursue personal projects that maybe they wouldn't have or couldn't have. I hope there could be some good out of it. I know I hate like, oh, you got to look at the silver lining. Like, tell that to my really hungry kids. Like, fuck this guy. I'm just, I'm trying
Yeah, the
to,
guy with the 7-figure salary is like,
yeah,
we had to make a hard call
yeah, we
today. It
had to
was a
make a
tough
hard call.
decision.
Uh,
Read the little, what is that? It's like
the
the block
prompter.
the black box with the yellow lettering,
Oh,
or
oh,
the cyberpunk like
yeah,
delay like
yeah, yeah,
template.
yeah, 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 yeah. It pisses me off, man.
Yeah.
It really does, because it's so clearly the shareholders, like they're trying to just bottom dollar, bottom dollar, bottom dollar, and
Yeah.
it's they keep trying to grow, and you can't grow infinitely. It just doesn't work that way.
It's like, it's funny you mentioned that because I work for Paramount. That's my day job. So
Oh,
again, movie industry. So like I look at the numbers of like release because I'm just obsessed with metrics and data and like how well our movies do. And like I look at really cheap horror films that have like next to no budgets
but they make,
and they make so much money.
yeah,
And I'm like, why haven't we shifted in this direction like on the game side? Like we don't there was a time where you could have like a film that wasn't super bloated budget that would make you $1 billion and
mhm,
that could fund all these little pet projects and like some could stand to fail
right,
because you still had the billion
right,
that you made off of like a very small budget. Now it's like if one of these things fails, it's like we got to let go people. We got to
yeah,
close studios down
yeah,
because the margins are so thin on return. It's like this is not sustainable.
no,
And there's a hyper focus. Like we have to associate the AAA games to look the best and be the best, but that's going to bankrupt
and
the industry at the end of the day.
yeah,
The time to make it, first of all, and then the amount of money
and then the marketing,
and the marketing.
and and then okay, this might get then so you pumped in what $800 million in this project, and
Oh, good
in
God.
order for it to appeal to everyone, you have to then make it appeal to no one.
Exactly.
And then you've got this bland milk toast AAA boring. I could have predicted the story. I could predict exactly this character's
Yeah.
personality. I know who's going to be smart. I know who's going to be dumb. And it's just like by the numbers, and it's infuriating and it's boring. It's all we're watching like everything looks so real and it's boring. There's no
Mm-hmm.
art direction.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I would take a million Wind Wakers over
Yep.
another Star Wars Outlaws. Like,
Oh
get
my
the fuck
God.
out of
And
here.
even that doesn't look that great. And then it's
I
like,
know.
did you see there was this thing I saw today? Like Ubisoft was like, oh, we're not gonna delay the game because you think it looks bad. It's like maybe you should.
Maybe you should. I,
It's
the reason they're not is because
like
their overlords
we know
won't
that
let them.
we know that all you dumbs are gonna buy the game, so it's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
It's totally fine.
Just look at their all that you got to do is look at their pricing. That tells you what they think of you.
Yeah.
Like, just look at what they know you're gonna eat it. They're gonna eat this pig slop out of a trough. They know you're gonna eat it, and they don't care.
Oh my God.
It gets under my skin, dude.
Yeah, so I watched Long Legs over the weekend with my fiance, which
Yeah,
is a phenomenal little horror movie.
I've been really excited to watch it.
$10 million budget
What?
on that. And I'm pretty sure a good chunk of that was Nick Cage's, fee for being
Yeah.
in the movie.
I didn't even know he was in it until I saw it was like I just saw an article like pop up. I'm like, I had no idea he was even in it. But I like
steals
that.
steals every scene
Dude,
he's
I really
in.
want to see that movie. It looks so good.
Like he got me so like hype on him. Like we went home and we downloaded Arcadian. We watched that right afterward. And
Did
then
you
we
watch the Red Letter Media thing?
so
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was watching. I was like, wait, I don't want to
Yeah,
skip past Arcadian, but it sounds interesting, Mike. Let me just
yeah, yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
pause you talking and then go watch the actual movie.
Cool, 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 cool. So how was Arcadian?
Oh, I loved it. It's a again low budget, like fun little monster flick.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it didn't cost $1 million to make, but I'm sure it made money at some level.
Right. Yeah,
And then we watched Pig right after that because I was still high on the Nick Cage.
yeah.
I
Oh,
was
you were on a
like,
Nick Cage kick.
I was like, fiance, have you seen Pig? It's like it's Nick Cage, but it's like Fight Club, and he's looking for a pig.
Yeah,
And he's like, what? I was like, just sit down. We're gonna watch
yeah,
Pig tonight.
yeah, 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 yeah.
I may cry, and I did.
Oh, I haven't seen Pig yet. I've only heard.
Oh
good
my
things.
God, Eric!
I know. It's like I have to watch
You
it.
can't. You have to make the game. You can't watch movies.
I know that's. Don't get me started. I used to love watching like dubbed. No, not dubbed. Subbed.
Subbed.
I would screw this up. I love watching subbed movies, anime, yada yada
Mhm.
yada. I don't get to do that anymore because I can't read. I have to work, so I don't get to. It sucks. I always have to wait for the sub. No, the dub. Damn it.
Another thing I want to ask you again, a more broader question on the industry. Again, looking in, what are your thoughts on like services like Game Pass? Like, does that appeal to you in any way? Do you feel like if you were approached to get your game on that service, would you go for it, or would you just be like, you know what, I'm gonna put it out there and let it do its thing?
I honestly need to. I would have to do a lot of research because I am an old. I'm old school. I'm very
Right.
old school.
Yeah.
I only have two games. I have two games on my PS5. It's God of War Ragnarok and Elden Ring. That's it.
Yeah, that's some good shit right there.
So I don't, and I'm working all the time.
Mhm.
I don't get to play a lot of games. This is a long way of saying I don't. I'm of the you buy a game and you
Mhm.
have it, and then
And it's your game.
that's my game,
That's your game, yeah.
and I don't need to worry about microtransactions or live services or any of that.
Mhm.
So I don't know the pros or cons close enough to
Mhm.
really have an opinion. My understanding is a Game Pass is you pay a fee and you kind of have like a library of games.
It's like a Netflix. Like things will be there, and then over time they won't be there.
Yeah. I don't
At least on the
love
third
that.
party side, the things that they pay for, like, we'll put your game on our service. Here's a bag with a dollar sign on it. It's for you.
So you're saying if someone, it would be like they'd be renting Lucid?
Exactly. So essentially, let's say Lucid launched on Game Pass day one. It would be on
Right.
the service for X amount of time, whatever the terms are of your deal with Microsoft.
Oh, I
And
see.
then after that time is over, the game just is no longer on the platform, on the service.
And
And
then if
you'd have to buy it if you
you
want to
don't
own
buy
it after that. Yeah.
I see.
That's the general idea.
I see. I can see the why justify its existence. I can see
Yeah, uh-huh.
people digging that.
Yeah.
I don't want to poo-poo on that.
Mhm. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
gamble. It's like
Yeah.
it's you could have, they were trying to get Baldur's Gate 3 on that service, I think was the story back in the day.
Uh-huh.
And like it was like a really low ball offer that it was like $5 billion. It's like that game probably made like $1 bajillion.
Wow.
Like that, and it was not on Game Pass.
So is that how that works? They come to you and they say we'll give you X amount.
I would imagine that's how it works. Or the publisher says like, hey, like, would you want to put this game on the service? Then you'll work out a deal.
Yeah, I would actually have to put on my business hat and like
Yeah.
look at numbers and all that boring shit.
Yeah.
I do like having like this is yours.
Mhm.
You purchased it, it is yours.
Mhm.
It is your thing, it is your trinket, be it digital or physical, it is
Mhm.
yours. It's an intimate thing.
Right. And then you get your cut right away.
Yeah.
It's not, that's the gamble. It's like you're basically saying you're kind of making a guess. Like,
Yeah.
how many copies of Lucid am I gonna sell theoretically on Xbox?
Right.
And is that the dollar amount that I'm gonna get from them in the terms?
Right.
So it's a little guesswork.
Yes.
Because the game could be like sensational, and you can say to yourself, "Damn, I lost on potential sales
Right.
because it was free on the
Right.
service," or you could say, "Damn, this game bombed, but I got all this up front, so I'm not so bad."
If I'm
So
being honest,
that's the gamble. That's what you're looking at, I would imagine.
if someone, I wouldn't be stubborn if someone came with a very compelling reasoning
I mean, if
and
the
all this
deal was
stuff.
good enough, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't stick my nose up. I would consider the offer, but my instinct is I bet on myself.
Mm,
And
I love it.
if it was like just if that was the question, bet on yourself or like
This is why you have faith in your players to figure out how to do stuff in the game.
there you go. Yeah. So if that's an answer, that's my
Man,
answer.
that reminds me when I was a kid, we would play like remember Shadowgate for Nintendo? It was like that,
Yes.
like so we would play that game, we would get stuck all the time.
Uh-huh.
And my brother would he'd want to rage quit. And I'd be like, listen,
Yeah.
the game exists. It was released.
Yep.
There's a solution is in here.
Yeah. That's the
We
puzzle.
just have to think harder.
We can do it. We can figure this out.
It's like they didn't make a game without a solution.
No. Well, then we look at Simon's Quest, and they wanted you to like squat in a. I don't know if you know about the. Yeah.
Eric, let me tell you how much I know about that. Before the days of the internet existed, or were as like proliferated through the world as they are today,
Uh-huh.
I wrote to Nintendo Power asking them how the fuck do I get to the last two mansions in this game.
Mhm.
And they were like, take the red crystal, go to this area, duck, and a little whirlwind will come take you away. And my brain is soup at this point, but I have a very distinct memory of that hot summer night when I was a young lad,
Mhm.
and my brother and I got that letter in the mail, and we sat down and we did it. That's like peak life at that moment. That's like God tier living.
Dude, I got goosebumps. Because I know exactly what you're talking about.
I'm gonna send you a picture of that letter. I have it somewhere on one of my phones.
I can't believe it. Yes, please do.
I'm gonna send you that picture.
Oh,
it's like 1992 dated or some shit like that.
Yes. I love it.
So just to let you know, and our listeners, we typically talk for like an hour with these interviews. We've gone like an hour and a half. That's how incredible of a human being you are.
Oh,
because it does not feel like an hour and a half has passed, to be honest.
I'm so sorry. It's because I'm long-winded.
No, it doesn't matter. I'm having a great time. So I'm gonna keep rapid fire. I'm gonna do like a truncated version of rapid fire. I'm gonna ask you a few fun questions. We'll say goodbye, and I'll go cry. And but you know what? I realized since your game is out next year, I could bring you back like 8 more times.
100%.
We'll keep talking.
I would happily do that.
And also, as a fun fact, Steven, his day job is doing bids for a construction company.
Oh,
so he's all about like, I guess, buildings and that and your old world. And Matt is a huge Mega Man fan, game fan too. So they missed out. This has been an amazing conversation,
bro. I told you.
I'm so glad I had you all to myself for the last hour and a half.
Cool Kids Club.
Cool Kids Club, yeah. The cool crew. All right, so you've played a lot of good games, I gather.
I like to think so.
You mentioned like 25 like goated games at the beginning of the podcast.
I like to think I have good taste.
Yes. If you could erase the memory of having played one of those games or any game and experience it again for the first time, which game do you think that would be?
Fuck. All right.
That's a tough one.
It is. Obviously, I've got 10 in the chamber.
Of course.
But I think gonna try to be fair. I'm gonna try to go. Okay, my initial gut instinct is go like childhood, right?
Mhm.
But I think that's the easy answer.
Yeah, too
So
easy.
I'm gonna go with the closest thing that. Oh shit! I just thought of another. Shit! I was locked in, and then another one is like, what about me? Like, ugh. Okay, I'm gonna stick with my initial idea.
Yeah, go with the gut. Go with the gut instinct. Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Dark Souls.
Whoa.
I would like to forget because by now
Yeah.
I know the lore. I've watched hundreds of hours
Mhm.
of Dark Souls lore,
Mhm.
but to go back and not know how to do anything,
Mhm.
any of the mechanics, any of the boss fights, don't go left. I hadn't gotten that kid feeling playing a game and not knowing what the fuck is going on
Yeah.
and loving it for years. The first time I played that was 2013. It was my first apartment in the city. My buddy was like, "Yo, you gotta check out this game. It's called Dark Souls. It's pretty good." I'm like, "Okay, cool.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good." I then proceed to play the first night, the entirety of the night. My roommate at the time was like, he was just like, "Hey, dude, what you playing?" I'm like, "It's a game called Dark Souls." And then I came home the next day, and he was in my room playing Dark Souls. And I was like, "Hey, buddy, can I play Dark Souls?" And he's like, "No, I just gotta get
No,
to it." I'm like, "Hey, man,
stop it.
you're
Go
sitting
over,
on my bed
go
playing
over
on my
there.
computer. Can I please play Dark Souls?"
No.
So, I loved it. I would love to
That's a game.
completely forget everything that I know about
Yeah,
that game.
there is. I mean, the moments in that game, we talk about set pieces before, but like when you're crossing that bridge
Dude.
for the first time, and then
Yeah.
this like red dragon just swoops in and like lays waste to an army
Yep.
of enemies.
Yep.
We're getting fucked by the Capper Demon like 1,001 times in that tight
Yup.
corridor of a boss
Yup.
room.
Just the
Yeah.
very beginning where you open the door and the giant demon, the
Oh, the
prison
asylum,
demon,
the asylum
asylum
demon. Yeah. Mhm.
just is like, "Good morning." You're like,
Yeah.
what's
Hi.
happening?
I will sit on your face now.
Uh-huh.
Which is
Everything.
usually a good thing, but still.
Yeah. That game taught me, Miyazaki and FromSoft
Mhm.
taught me so much about game design, my philosophy of game design, the respecting the player. I don't think I would have learned a lot of those lessons if I had never played Dark Souls and FromSoft. So yeah,
Yeah.
they're a big one for me.
It's amazing how much of that game's philosophy is rooted in old school design. Like
Exactly.
I keep like I'll always think of that game for some reason. I think it was like when I first put Ninja Gaiden 2.
Mm-hmm.
It was just this really challenging. We're not going to hold your hand through any of this kind of
Yes.
game, and I got that exact same feeling.
100%.
Yeah.
And to your point, I played the Dark Souls. Yeah, it was awesome. And then almost immediately after, I got hit with this kick of like, I need to go back and play old NES. I played the original Castlevania. I played the original Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah.
You name it. I played all those old school ball busters,
Mhm.
and it was just like, oh my God, it's just a modern day this, where it's just like,
Yeah.
here, it's really hard, but you can do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're gonna teach you through like level and game design, not like
Weird.
with a block of text like describing
Yup.
the game's mechanics to you, and you and go to a tutorial level.
Yup.
I'm wondering if this next question will be similar answer, but we'll see.
Oh.
If you were given an opportunity to work on a franchise, let's say they were like, Eric, here's a blank check. Make us the next this.
Okay.
What is the this that you're
Okay.
making?
Okay. I may have said this before, but I believe it. I would love to make the next Star Fox.
Oh shit, dude.
Yeah, dude. I want to make
Get
Star Fox
Miyamoto
Zero
on the phone right now.
Yeah. Star Fox Zero was a cesspool.
Sad.
It made me sad. I was so excited, and I knew almost immediately. I was just like, oh.
Yeah.
It was it was the Wii U, it was the whole thing, and all I wanted was that N64 feeling. And everyone, you could say, well, just go play the N64, and you're right. But I think there's still room to grow, and for whatever reason, they've tried, and it just never fucking like. Assault was okay.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's okay to really shot in the arm, like really like next level Star Fox, like true N64, like this is where it should be. That's what I would like to do. Kind of like what so there was the Zelda NES, Zelda 2, some people love it, whatever. Then A Link to the Past came and it was just like bam, dick on the table. I would like to be that dick on the table for Star Fox 64.
Man, I also want to say that Zelda 2 is one of my favorite Zelda games. That was the first one I played when I was a kid. And Zelda 1 like broke me because I was like, this isn't what I fell in love with. Yeah. And this is the preferred formula.
No,
not the side-scrolling thing that I was playing.
I like 2 more than the original Zelda, but I also don't feel like Zelda 2 is a Zelda. What I think of Zelda, I don't. But I like it. I like that game.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I totally get it. Let's have a few more fun questions before we say goodbye. The fiance gets a phone call in the middle of the night, and you've been arrested.
Oh,
what crime have you committed?
Speaking my mind.
Were you living in China, North Korea? Where are you?
What have I done?
Yeah.
What have I done? What would I have done? I would probably I know what I did. It was speaking my mind. It was telling someone to pick up their litter, and then getting into a fight that escalated. Yeah. And the police had to get called, and then I got thrown in jail because I got upset that people were littering in the movie theater or in the park. Yeah, something like that. Something stupid where I'm like, that's not right. And yeah, I get it from my mom.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. It's a very New York thing too.
Yeah.
Like getting called out for littering. I feel like people will do that to you because there's trash cans fucking everywhere in the city.
I have a little anecdote. I got an anecdote.
Oh yeah, so let's hear it.
I was living in not Carroll Gardens. I was living in Windsor Terrace, and she was living in Prospect Park. Doesn't matter. Anyway, I was walking to her place, and it's around this park in the city, or Brooklyn rather. And it was early morning, and it was this big intersection. And from across the street, I saw a guy's dog take a poop, and I was waiting for the light. Takes the poop. The guy looks around and then starts walking. And I just say from across the street, I just yell, "I see you!" And he turns around and I'm like, "I see you!" And then he's like, he did this thing and he picked up the poop, and I was like that. So that's me.
Okay. Again, as a dog owner, like the bags are on the thing.
I know. He clearly had a bag.
Whenever I am caught without a bag, I just look around for like those like newspaper coupon things in people's houses. I grab one of those, rip the bag off, and use that. Like I would never leave. One time, this guy actually thanked me from his window because he was trying to catch whoever was leaving the turds in front of his house. So I was walking one morning. A dog took a shit. So I heard, "Thank you." I was like, "What?" He was like, "Yeah, this past week I've been seeing turds every morning around this time," and I'm like, "That's definitely not me."
What a time to be alive!
I was like, "Look how small my dog is."
Yeah.
He was like, "Yeah, they're big turds." I was like, "No."
Yeah, because it's just these little things that we live in a society.
Yes, we live in a society.
Yes, and it's just like respect one another, man. Because to further the anecdote, and then we moved to another place. It was like a stepping stone place, and for whatever reason, the environment of the people there, no one wanted to pick up poop, and there was poop everywhere. And then there was a snowstorm, and there was literal like.
Were you in San Francisco?
No, it was some place. It was outside New York. It was near Tarrytown. area. But
I'm
dude,
looking to move in that area too. We'll see how that
it's
goes.
beautiful. It's beautiful.
Except for the poops.
Terrytown. It was this other section it was a town or two over.
Hmm.
Anyway, I can tell you all the down low. I don't want to
Okay.
poo-poo on if
Yeah.
anyone's living there. Poo-poo. But yeah, man, it was just like a river of turds that people weren't picking up, and I'm like, what is happening? No one's picking up their dog poop. Anyway,
Complacency.
I'm nuts. I'm nuts.
That would drive me insane. One last poop story, and then we'll move on to the last question.
Awesome.
There's an urgent care like a block from where I live, and for some reason people like putting their dog poopy bags in their little container, their trash bins,
Okay.
and they don't like that. So they've taken to fishing them out of the trash and leaving them on the sidewalk.
No.
So it's like 6 poop bombs. They're just like hanging out.
Like little goodie bags.
Yeah.
Of poop.
And then, it rains or people walk on them and you see it. It's like, what is happening?
So let me get this.
This is worse for you because like your establishment is like poop adjacent.
So they'd rather it be out on display like heads on pipes.
Yes.
Than be in a garbage.
Correct.
There's a word for that. And I don't think I'm allowed to say
it. All right. This is gonna be I think I want to ask you one more silly question.
Yes.
And then a nice heart-to-heart emotional question.
Yes.
To cap it off. What is the dumbest way you've ever injured yourself? Or have you ever almost unalived yourself before accidentally?
Yes. Because
I feel growing up in maybe like in the New York area, like
Jersey boy,
we're right there. It's fine. It's fine.
Yep.
Similar lifestyles, same kind of age range, like kids on bikes, summertime. So yeah, give me a story of.
Okay, I've got 2. One was
and they're both equally stupid.
They're both pretty stupid. One I didn't injure myself, but I got in trouble, and then the other one I was stupid. So the first one was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
It was very, very hot out. Very, very hot out. You're I don't know if kids still do this, but we were playing in the woods. This where all the trees grow.
Yeah.
These things, those leaves grow off the trees, and they call those the woods.
The woods, yeah.
So we were out in the woods, and it was hot, and we were doing a thing, and it was so fucking hot, dude. And we hit a stream, and I was like, oh, I know. I'm gonna take this big leaf. I'm gonna fill it with water and splash my face with it. That'll help. So that way I can just get a lot of it.
I'll cool off a little bit.
Cool off.
This hot summer day.
Turns out that leaf was poison oak. And I had a cut on my face.
Oh no!
Yeah. So you see where this is going. I looked like a lizard person.
Oh my god.
I guess thankfully that weekend or the week following, we were going down to we had a soccer tournament, and we were going down to the shore, and we were by the beach, and I just like existed in the salt water. I looked disgusted. My mom had to I had cuts and whatever. She would there's this alcohol pad, and she had to sit there and like that because it stung. It was bad, dude. I looked hideous.
See, now for a second I thought it was gonna be like, and then I took this leaf down by the river and then I splashed it, and then that's how I got polio.
Close.
Oh man, that's brutal. All right, and I'm dying to hear the other one.
The second one was okay. This one was just dumb, and I could have gotten hurt, but I just got in trouble. In college, I went to NJIT, New Jersey Institute of Technology. What? Newark, represent. So we were in essentially what were sort of dorms, and they had these windows or this glass wall with these fins or mullions that essentially kind of made this lattice kind of grid. And they had this balcony, and you could only have so many guests at a time. And we had all these friends over, and they wouldn't let them in. And I'm like, don't worry, you take mine, I'll get in. I'll figure it out. I'm wearing big sweatpants and Ugg UGG slippers, and I decided that I can climb. I can climb that.
Easy.
It's just a ladder.
Yeah.
So it's also like the third time I was doing it, but whatever. And we had been.
I'm getting such a visual right now. By the way.
Yeah, I was not the most sober ever, and I go to climb it, and I get to the part where you gotta like whip your leg over, and I'm going for it, and all of a sudden, as soon as I get one leg over, I hear, "Hey!" I'm like, "Oh shit!" And I flip myself over, and I like, and I run inside. I go in the elevator. I shoot upstairs. I go to the room, and I'm sitting there, and everyone we're playing Uncharted. Uncharted was being played,
God!
And all of a sudden we hear, and I'm like, "Oh shit!" And I'm like, "It's not me." And then my buddy's like, "I'll go. I'll go. I was gonna leave. It was me." And he goes out there, and we're like, No, it wasn't you. Bring him out, and like we got a camera. It's on camera, and I'm like, "Fuck." So I go out there, and they're like, "Hey, come with us."
Busted in real time. We got the videotape. We got him dead to rights.
Dead to rights. Like there's no getting around. And luckily, I didn't get in any no real trouble. It was more of like a. But we're sitting there in the elevator, and there's two campus police or some shit, and I'm sitting there in front of them.
Basically.
Yeah, mall cops, and I'm sitting there, and
so Paul Blart busted us for fucking.
Yeah. They were cool. They're just like, "Come on, dude, come on." And we're sitting there taking me out, and we're like in the elevator, we're going down. I'm sorry, you guys. They're like, they start laughing. They're like, "It's fine. What the fuck, dude?" I'm like, I don't know. So I could have fallen 2 stories and gotten really hurt.
Holy shit!
But that's the dumbest.
Holy shit!
Yeah, so
I love it. Let's do a quick aside. I feel like I got to ask you this question for the last question. What word best describes you when you've had a little too much to drink?
Oh, when I've had too much to drink. Best describes me. I guess jovially opinionated.
Oh,
and but crass.
We need to get you back on with some sort of drinking game mechanic to the interview. For all of us, we'll get the full crew in here, and that should be fun to watch.
Yes, yeah. Opinions start flowing, but I do it with a smile and with love.
And the last thing I want to ask you, Eric, is when someone has been playing Lucid for a little bit of time, they set the controller down, and they walk away. What should they feel? What should the takeaway be in here when they walk away from
optimistic melancholy?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I love how fast you were with that.
Yeah, that's what I want. That's actually a line.
I got the chills.
Baby. That's it's almost a mission statement at this point. It's when I've told it to everyone's been making the music. That's a note. The environments, the stories, the characters, all my favorite games have that hopeful melancholy. I look at games like Majora's Mask, even Ocarina of Time. The ending is so sad, but there's a party going on, but there's still your friend leaves. I just love that, like, that feeling of like everything's gonna be okay, even if it hurts right now, but it's gonna be okay.
A little bittersweet. Like it may seem like garbage right now, but it's gonna get better. Persevere,
it'll be okay.
I love it. Man, we talk about what makes a really great Metroidvania, and I think you're on the path. I think you're there. From what I've seen and what I've heard, I'm mad that it's over a year away. But that's gonna do it for this week. Eric, dude, I love you. There's love. There's so much love,
buddy. I'm so happy we finally got to do this. This was awesome.
Yeah, so much. I feel like the buildup was there.
It was a month of foreplay.
It's so worth the wait. Like this fucking This guy's just yanking my chain for the last like 6 weeks.
Oh my god. The funniest one was I think it was just like this peak of like, I think it was like 2 minutes before the meeting, like, I think we need to reschedule. I'm like, it's okay, don't worry about it.
Oh, there was one time when it was like, I think we were on at 8 and you were like, wasn't it 9? That happened one time.
Yeah. I was like, I could have sworn it was 9. Like, you were in the meeting and I was like, what? No, it was 8. Whoopsie. Whoopsie poopsie, that's on me.
Yeah, I am such a shit.
Yeah. Oh my god.
It's like it's 8:55. I guess they'll cancel him, right?
Yeah.
He's like, I got us a table. I ordered some drinks and some appetizers. So when you get here, we'll just go into it.
Yeah. Well worth the wait.
Oh my god. Well, listeners, that is Lucid. Wishlist this thing right now. It looks phenomenal. We'll give all the links.
Yes, please.
All that fun stuff. Eric, any parting words before we say our farewells for now?
I mean, thank you, Andres, for having me. It was super fun. It was really great to meet you.
Oh yeah. Well, until next time, listeners, thank you so much for being here and for always go play some indie games, support them. They need your love.
We do.
They are just the best people around.
Yeah. Wish lists go a long way.
And I'm sure if this 2-hour conversation didn't convince you of that, then you might be a garbage person.
Yeah, I don't want to be your friend.
Yeah. But again, thank you so much for listening. And as always, please be excellent to each other.
Guys.